What is up, guys? It's Evan. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be breaking down how exactly I traded today, how I did well, and the lessons that I learned, and how you guys can apply those same lessons that I learned from trading today to your future trades. So real quick, we're going to hop into my screen, and I'm going to show you guys what I traded today. So as you can see on my screen, I traded SQQQ, which had a consistent uptrend pattern throughout the entire day. It continued to validate the EMA as a support throughout the day, and I was able to identify the high points and the low points throughout the day. So once again, I think I told you guys in a previous video, but I'm using the Heikin-Ashi candlestick chart. So when the candles are consistently green, it shows signs of an uptrend and upwards momentum. And then when they're consistently red, as you can see here, it shows downtrending and signs of downward momentum, right? So when you look into my screen here on SQQQ, at the beginning of the day, I had a little pop off, pulled back, and validated that EMA as a support, and then kind of struggled around this area for a little bit. Was lightly invested in this area before it began to push up, and then I added to my position size. So as you can see, right, pulled back, consolidated a little bit, but consolidated upwards. So overall, these wicks at the bottom were continually uptrending, and then it began to push off a little bit, pulled back, validated support at the EMA again, and consistently did that throughout the day. So my main point today, or like where I went right, and like kind of where I learned some lessons, where I was able to identify the high points and the low points throughout the day. And I did that by identifying that SQQQ was bouncing off of that EMA, and also by identifying when the crosses would happen on the MACD indicator. And I also use one other indicator that you guys might not be aware of, but it is the MFI, which is the money flow index indicator. This indicator will show when there is more money flowing into the stock. So basically when more buyers are coming in, and then it'll point down when more sellers are coming in, essentially. So it's right down here at the bottom. You can see the MFI. So as it would, trend up, or as it would peak out, like obviously those buyers would come into play, and then it would point up. So kind of another indicator that you guys can use. But with that indicator and the MACD indicator, I was able to identify the high points and the low points for today. And throughout that, I profited, but I didn't profit as much as I normally did. Now, I profited small, but I was happy with it because of how accurate I was in depicting, where those low points and where those high points were. Now, I never sold at the perfect price point either. And that's another thing I want to talk about, is always being okay with selling early, because despite me selling early, I still locked in profits and I still made money on that trade. And I wasn't exactly sure that it was going to continue to push up, but every time that I would sell, it would push up, and I would have been able to double my profit, which was kind of discouraging. But looking back on it, I'm happy that I made profit, and you guys should look at it the same way. You should be grateful that you made profit, and that you can always get back in later when you see opportunity presenting itself. Now, another thing I wanted to bring up with these short trades today was pullbacks were a big part of today, and pullbacks are part of the game. So when the stock pulls back, I like to be, obviously lightly invested. So my initial investment would be going in with about 10% of my full position size, and then averaging up from there. So entering with 10% would allow me to tolerate some of the pullbacks. So if I was able, if I bought in on this push up and then it pulled back, although it didn't pull back quite down or quite low as it was before, right? I would be lightly invested. So that way I would be able to tolerate if I was in the negative round or down and around this area, right? Because if you aren't able to tolerate those pullbacks, then you'll end up selling in fear and end up losing money on the trades, just like in the short term. So that's another thing I want to bring up, right? Pullbacks are part of the game, and anybody experiencing like a pullback, make sure that you're lightly invested, because pullbacks are going to be, they're inevitable, right? They're inevitable of the stock uptrending. It's not just going to consistently flow upwards the entire time. It's definitely going to have some pullbacks, and you have to be able to tolerate those. So that was another lesson that I learned from today. So basically, big three lessons were identifying the high points and the low points throughout the day with the money flow index, the MACD indicator, and then obviously the candlesticks with the EMA. And if you guys are wondering, my EMA is set at a 45, right? 45-day EMA right there. And then that kind of shows me, you know, where the support was, right, for the candlesticks. So those big three lessons, so identifying the high points and the low points, would be number one. Number two would be pullbacks are part of the game, so stay lightly invested until direction is clearly in your favor. And then third, be fine with selling early, because even though you sell early, you still locked in profit, and that's what matters at the end of the day, because you don't go broke by locking in profits. So appreciate you guys for tuning on in on this video, and I'll be uploading more videos in the future. Hope you guys could learn something from this and just kind of apply it to your own trading. And yeah, so hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.